Hello everybody, welcome. It's Drozdov here. Flying solo for this one, I'm afraid, so you're just going to have to listen to me for the next wee bit. This is the last round of the group stage, and well, it's probably the biggest of the group matches, at least in terms of the status of the teams involved. Obviously, both of them have qualified, and we have, with the previous results, we've established all the top three for the Group A, so we know that Special Forces are going through, along with Endgame and Final Fantasy. But yeah, this is still definitely a match that has a lot of meaning. So whoever wins this match will be top of the group, and that means they will have, for one thing, an easier run. They go straight through into the semi-finals. They don't have to play a quarter-final match. And the loser of this group will have to play the winner of the other group in the semi-final stage, assuming they get that far. So it's not guaranteed yet. It's New Factory and Victoria SE will be playing tomorrow. Technically, if Victoria do win that match, they would be able to go top of the group, I believe, just on the head-to-head. So not entirely certain, but obviously it's most likely, if things go to plan, it's going to be whoever loses this match will have to play Noob Factory in the semi-finals. So interesting to see how this match is going to go. It's, even if they've qualified, it is going to be a match that they will want to win. Looks like they've got fairly strong squads in, and I imagine we're more or less finalised. I'm pretty sure neither of them are going to be wanting to play with the goalkeeper. But yeah, could be an interesting match. It could also be very tight and tactical, as we know that's what Endgame like to do. They like to keep games very close, don't let too many chances to their opponents, and hope to hit them on the counter-attack. So I'd have to say, I mean, I honestly don't really mind who wins this game, but yeah, from a neutral spectator's perspective, what you want to see, I would say, is Final Fantasy to score first, because that means we won't have Endgame encouraged to start negative, safe, time-wasting tactics, which, it's entirely legitimate for them to do this in competitive matches, but still, it doesn't make it the best spectacle at times. So, yeah, I would hope to see at least a few goals from both teams and a very good match. I will say as well, if there is a draw, Endgame will go through as top of the group just by virtue of having by far the superior goal difference, because they have been basically hammering all of their opponents in this group so far. I have to say, I haven't watched all of the games in this group. I think, to be honest, the only game I've watched fully from this group was the Final Fantasy match against Not a Crew, which was quite a tight one. I know that also Final Fantasy's first game against Special Forces, they only won by 2 goals, so definitely they've not had it quite as easy as Endgame seems to have, in terms of the score lines at least. But still, Final Fantasy, they're not, obviously both Endgame and Final Fantasy are effectively rebranded teams from previous tournaments. Obviously, it used to be Rogue Family, and Endgame are kind of a mix of Snazzy and Par 7. Final Fantasy, not quite as active as they used to be. They're missing some of their top players just now. They're missing Facepalm and Jacoby. But still, they're a very dangerous outfit when they have their best team in on their own best form. So yeah, they've got their 3 key creative players in the server, LM10, Yanwa, and Modi. And they're backed up always by pretty solid all-rounders in the rest of the team. So Hans Krankel and Cappy are certainly very useful players too. Endgame have got almost their strongest lineup in, I would say. Missing Justin Bieber, of course, but they do have, Hoffs, Pio, Blue, 3 excellent defensive players. Hoffs is also very useful as a midfielder. And they've got Jota Payer, JP, and Muckian as an attacking force. So they've got a pretty balanced team in. So, yeah, I think we're going to be seeing pretty much strength against strength. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out and how they can play. We've still got a bit of time before the match starts. I'm trying to see if there's an awful lot of spectators. I'm not sure if any other members of either team are online, who may come in to help out at any point. You can see Riku is online for Final Fantasy, but not in the server. I'm sure if they were playing with the goalkeepers, he would be very keen to show off his goalie gloves again. I think we will be pretty much going with the teams that we have. So in terms of formations, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, a lot of these players are interchangeable, and I think we can expect Endgame to use something like a 2-1-2 or the sort of 3-2 almost that they play as par 7 before. So I'd imagine we'll be seeing obviously Pio and Blue will be in defence. Hoffs might be a straight up midfielder. He may play a sort of roaming central midfielder, extra defender. He can do either. And obviously Muck and JP will be their main threat on the attack. For Final Fantasy, I would guess Hans Krankel will be in defence. Meanwhile, might well be the other defender, in which case it's going to be LM10 as their main attacker, and Modi and Cappy on the sides. But yeah, they could interchange almost all of those positions. I think Hans Krankel being in defence is the only one that I'm certain of. Just saw in the comments that Levy Sands telling me I'm speaking too fast. I always prefer to say that you guys are listening too slow, so you just have to take it. If you live in Scotland, you have to get used to people with fast accents. That's just how we are. So it's interesting to see everybody small size today. No mediums or large. I mean, obviously, certainly in Final Fantasy, are never a team that rely on crosses. Endgame can do crossing tactics as well. I would say that it could be a weakness of Final Fantasies. Their aerial kind of power and defense isn't the best, so it could be an area to exploit if they'd had Zella in. But now we'll see how it goes. Let's try to have a look at something. Yeah, it's very interesting kind of take on the tournament, with goalkeepers being optional. We've not even got a goalkeeper in our team, so I haven't really seen many matches that actually were played with human goalkeeper. Not what everybody likes, of course, but yeah, certainly I think the majority of the community seems to prefer it this way. And we have had the option. We've not seen many teams actually choosing to play with human goalkeeper. So I do feel it makes it a bit more of an even playing field. The goalkeepers had probably an undue influence in proceedings, but you know, it is partly just because that's what we're used to that we find that a problem. We're almost there, only waiting for Blue to ready up. No doubt Hoss or Blue are giving their last minute tactical speeches. I'm hoping this won't be a too negative and tight encounter. I think the odds are that it will probably be very close and will only be decided by the odd goal or two. But yeah. I would say on overall current form in training matches, and also obviously in terms of their group form, you would put Endgame as very slight favourites. But when you look at the players that Final Fantasy have, when you have Inwa, Modi, and LM in the same team, they have more than a good chance against anybody. And looks like we've had a substitution. Blue's headed in. He's been replaced by Axie. That might well change things a bit. I'm not sure if Blue had connection issues or something, or if he has other opportunities. But yeah, it's a bit of a surprise. I would guess that will mean that Hoffs may go into defence. Though no, Axie has played in defence as well, so we'll see who plays where. But yeah, it's no surprise that these two are the top teams of their group. It was what everyone would have expected at the start, but it looks like we are ready to go. And it looks like we are indeed having PO and Hoffs in defence, and JP is the striker for this time, and Muck out wide. So yeah, it's fine. Trying to build an attack, but already playing the ball out of play. Cappy looks like he's taking up the defensive role as Enwa, Modi, and LM as their sort of attacking trident. Let's see if either team can get a head start early on. Hoff's under a bit of pressure there. Cappy puts in a rather impossible challenge there. It's something you see quite often is players will foul an opponent who's under pressure with the ball, which is really quite a cheap way of just giving them possession back. And in that situation, he was under quite a bit of difficulty to get clear. Ellen now had the ball playing across into the back post for Enwa. It was an excellent attempt there. I think Enwa could perhaps have reached that with a diving header if he'd been expecting it. It might have just been out of reach, but that's a promising start so far for Final Fantasy. And a hopeful ball from Muck forward there. It didn't quite work out. And we have Hans taking a short pass, which is still very much the Final Fantasy style, carrying over from Rogue Family. Nice long pass out to the wing there. Muck left a bit of space, but he was able to recover possession. He's got the ball to build forwards to JP. Bit opening on the right there for Hoffs to exploit. And he get free from Cappy under a lot of pressure. Modi comes in to clean up there. He was a bit too isolated there to make an effective attack. And it's a nice long pass from LM there. Pio couldn't quite manage to intercept that. Seeing a bit more of a crossing strategy from Final Fantasy so far, more than I expected. Hands with a long shot there. It's a reasonable opportunity. Couldn't quite hit it hard enough. Maxi almost losing possession in defence there in a dangerous position. But Hoff's able to just try and settle things down and make a simple pass back to Pio. When he builds attack, but yes, again, Hoff's playing a simple pass. Now space opening up for Pio to make through pass for Muckin, and he is onside and in good space here. Can Inwa manage to thwart him? He has crossed it in dangerously, but well handled there by Hans Krankel. Couldn't quite get it in the right position to take advantage of the situation. And now again, it's a long cross-field pass for Inwa, and a good chance here for Cappy if he can get past the defence. Trying to dribble and trying to quick right mouse button shot, but yeah, Hoff's read that one quite well. There's a chance here if I can get the ball to Muck, which he does. With Muck on his own here against Hans, he's got a crossing chance for JP and excellent cover from Enwa, just taking the safe option, not trying to win the header, just trying to block it. That's one of the best ways to defend. It doesn't always work, but generally it's the safest option. Muck manages to somehow not give a foul away with that sliding tackle. He got a chance for a counter attack there. JP not offside, but not able to control the ball either, and starts. So it's been quite an entertaining game so far. Hopefully it'll continue in that stead rather. Modi not really had much of a chance to impact the game offensively so far. Cappy trying to make some space, but Hans trying to dribble towards the middle. Had Cappy again in space, but Pio covered it well. He's a very good defender, Pio. I do feel he's been suffering from connection issues or ping issues, like a lot of players. Yeah, he's still one of the top defenders in the game. Muck not able to get to where he wanted to go, but still Hoff's on the ball with a chance to create another attack. Dribbling, and yeah, played a bit of a bad choice there. He could have played it out wide, that would have been safer. And again, counter, so it's been not quite end to end, not far off. So Hands again, not getting a lot of space for dribbling. Maybe both teams playing a bit slow so far, perhaps. Hoffs again. Well, he's always quite happy to play slow as a rule, but on this occasion, doing the same and waiting for a pass to emerge. JP maybe offside. We'll see, but maybe when he gets the ball, but he's not offside, and that was a dangerous cross, but Muck just couldn't get across as a defender to get there ahead of him. Modi again with a crossfield pass. This time Hoffs intercepts. There's a danger there. If you have midfielders who don't have good covering out wide, the crossfield passes are almost always open, and that's been the case so far for Endgame defensively. Muck trying to cross field to a different position to try and create an opening for himself, and again lack of cover out wide for JP, and well, could have done a bit better with that one really. It was a wide shot. He's quite capable of scoring from insane angles, like a lot of the top attackers are. In fact, we have some of the best in the game in the server at those kind of goals, with Muck, LM, Modi. JP is almost at that level. It's not successful this time, and good recovery slide there by Yunwa, and again Final Fantasy with possession. Cappy is trying to dribble for an opening. He's still not getting anywhere. Able to move the ball to the side. Yunwa again in under tight control, but that was a good pass to LM. Hands not able to keep the momentum of the attack going, and they have to come back to start again. And that's the end of the first half. So no goals yet, as we expected, but it has been pretty well fought, close space for the most part. But we are seeing both teams having some joy with space out wide, so it may well be the avenue for them to exploit. Yeah, there's been perhaps a little bit too much slow dribbling play, allowing the defence to recover position even when they are out of ideal cover. Modi throwing the ball backwards, sensible throwing option. Cappy on the ball, trying to move to the wing position. And that's well dribbled by Cappy. See if he can make a cross in. And Modi with the space, and that was the most dangerous one so far. That could easily have been a goal. Would have really expected that to have found the corner of the net. He just played it far too close to the centre of the goal. Yeah, again, I would say that Final Fantasy have had by far the better of the possession and the better of the chances, but still, yeah, either team could win this. Again, misplaced pass there, but Modi's blocked the pass from Muck. Unfortunately, LM ran offside there, so Modi couldn't play the pass that he wanted to, and he's had to go back and allow Endgame to reform. And again, still really unable to maintain possession themselves at Endgame in any kind of attacking fashion. So it's just a slow build-up of pressure for Final Fantasy. Let's see if they can actually break through. Ianwa again trying to dribble. He's got two on him. It's rather difficult to see him succeeding there, but he's at least managed to maintain possession with the throw-in, which he then promptly threw away to JP. But Hands again has won it back. They just can't seem to hold an attack in the second half Endgame. That's going to be a foul. It's a good danger there for a quick free kick, which they couldn't quite play accurately enough. But still, the ball in attacking position. That's a creative throw from Yenwa. It's created a chance for Muck for Cappy if he could have just dribbled past Muck. But yeah, Not the best of attempts there. It's far too predictable from it. Again, with a fairly senseless foul, but yeah, here we have now Endgame with the first real danger of the second half. JP clear on the wing. That's a good cross in, and again, I was taking the safe option of jumping in front of Axis to block a header, but it went over both of them anyway. And again, a chance for Final Fantasy to build an attack. Yeah. Space perhaps on the wing for either side here. Tell him, is he doing his good impression of his namesake, and then gave me the ball away promptly, but yeah, a bit of a ragged series of play there. Some fouls there from Final Fantasy. Cappy almost risked a second yellow card with his attempt at a foul, but here they are within another counter attack, but actually can easily intercept that. It's danger on the wing if he can get the ball to Hoss, which he does. Cappy was a bit slow to kind of swap positions with Yanwa there. Dangerous cross in, but again, it's been missed. And it's just been a lack of quality in the air, really, from both teams in the occasions where they have crossed it in. Hands almost gave that away to Pio dangerously, and he does it again the second time. But Cappy does a good job of recovering, and you need to watch JP in these positions. He's extremely dangerous. He's been driven further wide, though, and that's well marshalled by Cappy. Almost again risked giving the ball away in his own penalty area there with that pass, but come out okay. And LM again with a safe pass back to Cappy to allow them to reform and try and start an attack from the fresh. A long crossfield pass for Yanwa. Could almost have worked there, but yeah, just too straight out of an angle. You couldn't pick it out. Muck Nye's not really been able to influence the game at all positively, Muck, so far. Again, they have created some space on the wing for JP to exploit. And again, in a crossing position. Somehow that was not a foul. You have to ask Chaff about that one, but yes, Hans has managed to block it and straight through. So cross in, and Yanwa again in an excellent blocking position. Neither team's really been able to successfully, create an aerial threat. Yanwa, and this is a good pass there. I think he was maybe stuck on the power bar a bit, but he picked out a good pass anyway. And Modi now in an excellent position. Cappy, who's perhaps one of the best attacking headers of the ball in the servers, couldn't manage to get on the end of that. Again, counter attack didn't work. Now we're back in. There's only 10 minutes left in this game. It's been no goal so far, but it's still been fairly entertaining. Hoff's trying to see if he can change that. He's giving the ball away. We have 2 fouls there from JP for good measure, and still though the attack goes on. The advantage rule. LM running right in front of 4 different people, trying to dribble through them for some reason. It didn't work. And again, now dangerous position here. JP is onside, which I think he is. Now, he wants to cut inside and make a shot to the far post. Modi knew that as well, and therefore was able to predict it. And now let's see, with 5 minutes left, can they finally create a chance that they can score with? Pio, that should be a foul. You've got the man first. Modi now, just a few minutes left. Again, trying to move the ball out wide into a crossing position. That's good dribbling from Yanwa, and could be a dangerous set-piece chance here. Traditionally, they don't tend to make the best use of these kind of positions, Final Fantasy, because they tend to short pass, but Modi is being left to himself. He's going to have to cross this one in and see what happens. Crossed in for LM to win. Pio out-jumped him. And now, it's 89th minute. Should be room for at least this attack, if not more, and now there's a chance for Endgame to pile forward. Actually, he's free in the box if he can get the pass in, and is that a penalty kick? It is indeed. It was just inside the box. And it was a bit of panic there from Cappy. It was a dangerous position, and now JP, well, exactly as Endgame would have wanted it. It's a perfect match for them. Hold it to 0-0 the whole game, and then score with the last minute. And that is it. So wow, yeah. So now we know Endgame, in spite of really being on the back foot for almost all of that match, just one or two mistakes in defence, counter attack right at the very end, and yep, that's all they needed to win. And that's been consistent with how they played in the par 7 guys as well. So yeah, and it's hard to kind of analyse. I mean, really either team could have won that game. I do feel that they were certainly, had much less the possession, much less of the chances. But there we are, and now we know Endgame have won Group A. and they will go straight through into the semi-finals. They won't have to play a quarter-final match, and it's going to be Final Fantasy playing a quarter-final against one of the other teams, and then if they do manage to succeed against that, they'll go into the semi-final on the other side and may well play against Noob Factory. But anyway, that's all for now. So that's Group A finished, and we'll have the conclusion to Group B tomorrow. Still got the last chance, last playoff standings to be finished for Group B, and also deciding who's going to finish top of the group, either ourselves or Victoria are still with a chance to do that. And I think if not B Crew manage to defeat Galatasaray, they will be taking the other playoff spot as well. Anyway, that's all for now. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you again in the later rounds, I'm sure. Thank you very much, and goodbye.